good evening, good morning, good night, you lovelies. It is the one, the only Cappy D Barra, and we are here to discuss some grapples from the graps of the most elite of the elite. All right, we are going to be discussing Dynamite, March 25th, 2026. Hope all of you are having a great one, however you catch this, whenever you catch this. All right, now, a small thing, a very small thing that we're going to be discussing before all of this. A lot of you are probably going to be expecting for me to discuss MJF and Nick Nemeth out the gate, being that, for lack of a better word, pretty entertaining shit we got. But I will get to that when we get there, I promise. There's nothing else really to discuss. A little preemptive warning: there are going to be some out of WW Federation / out of AEW videos going up. Ring of Honor is on TV now, so I genuinely might do a Ring of Honor and TNA comparison if I could fit that in my schedule. We're also going to be discussing J. Cole and Jay-Z and the entire culture's reaction to Kendrick's diss on Drake, and kind of revisiting that entire summer, just kind of doing a retroactive on all of that. But that is what we're going to be getting to later in the week. Cannot also forget about One Piece. We're going to be touching on some shows, Daredevil, Invincible, a lot of things on the horizon, right? So keep your eyes peeled for that. But for now, we are going to be talking about directly the graps, the wrestlings. All right, this Dynamite starts off with Kenny motherfucking Omega in Swerve Strickland. Whose house? Swerve's house. Listen, the idea that I'm supposed to boo Swerve Strickland is just not going to happen. It's not going to happen. And I think Tony has to realize that there are certain people in that crowd that are never going to boost, there are certain people in that crowd that are never really going to boo Swerve Strickland. Like, they'll play along with it, right? But Swerve, it's insane, right? In a very short time that he's been AEW, he's become a pillar of the company. Like, you couldn't say that AEW is what it is today without people like Swerve Strickland, right? So, for Swerve to be kind of just so beloved by this crowd, even though he is the obvious heel in this situation, people want to see more from Swerve, and hopefully we will see more from Swerve in the future. Kenny does go over in this match, but this is a great match. This old ass nigga is fast as fuck is literally in my notes. Kenny moves at an insane speed. Like, he moves at, like, with such kinetic velocity. Like, I think it actually might rival Kevin Knight. He dashes for 2 seconds and the camera genuinely, it couldn't keep up with him. Like, the cameraman could not keep up with him. He ran from one end to the outside area to the other end, hit Swerve with a sitting V-trigger. Swerve eats like 9 V-triggers tonight. This was crazy. The setup for the one-winged angel was eventually how Swerve got put down, but I mean, Swerve hits Kenny with 2 snapdragons and a Swerve stomp, and it looks like Kenny's almost out of here. There's also a couple sequences where Swerve hits really clean, very well executed house calls. I mean, what else can I say about that? Listen, Kenny, he was on the defensive for a good amount of this match. But as I said, he found a way to will up. He didn't exactly hit the one-winged angel the first time, which led to Swerve actually hitting 2 house calls. No, my apologies, not house calls, 2 Swerve stomps and a house call, the house call I referenced. And this led to a near fall. And it is interesting because I did catch this a little later than everybody else, a little late to the punch. But with all that being said, I mean, Kenny puts on an amazing match. Like, these two put on a great match. It doesn't find a way to outshine at all the main event. I think the main event is great. Some people would probably argue that this should have been your main event, but everything we get from Swerve and Kenny, it's good. The kind of redemption that we get for Brody King is nice just in the story of this, right? It takes so many shots to put down Swerve, somebody who incapacitated Brody, right? So that kind of small bit of booking that kind of puts over Brody, in my humble opinion, right? Listen, I've learned that I disagree with a lot of people when it comes to me and my objective opinion. All right, I have a Jey Uso video coming out very soon that I think I would like a lot as a fan of the Federation, but apparently a lot of other people might have an issue with it, right? Listen, all of this stuff is subjective. It's all opinion based. What we are going to be getting to is the capabilities of Swerve Strickland in the world title scene, right? Now, Andrade rightfully should be here. I think that's what was set up a couple of weeks before Revolution. But what we get right now with Kenny Omega being, again, the first contender for this title scene, we also also get situations like Darby Allin, you know, calling out MJF last week. Very interesting circumstances that we have here. Some people were pledging like just like a 6-way, just like free-for-all Iron Man match. Listen, I don't know what these niggas could concoct, genuinely, but there is a lot of talent in that locker room, and Swerve definitely fits the bill. No argument about that. Again, like just the attempt to kill Kenny Omega, it was like, wow, man. Wow, it was crazy. Swerve's gut is something I'm just going to comment on for 2 seconds. It almost poked my eye out. I would like for him to put it away. The roll-up power bomb was fucking beast. No, apparently it was called like an orange crush. That's the official name for it, an orange crush. I just kind of, you know, deemed it as like a roll-up power bomb. It was fucking beast. Swerve hits a lot of great shit for this tonight. But eventually, you know, Swerve eats 2 V-triggers. He eats 2 more V-triggers on top of the 17 he's fucking eaten for this match, and Kenny finds a way to hit the 1, 2, 3 that puts away this match. Kenny stands tall and he walks out victorious. All right, this is again a very fun match. The only thing I want to figure out for real is just the place of Swerve in the world title division. That's it for real. Speedball Mike Bailey has about a 1:30 match with Tony Romero. Just a good old standby match for the audience. Can't be too pissy about that. You know, my issue is I go to shows not knowing that standby matches exist, and I'm expecting like a 15-minute classic between the two between the two bench warmers. You know what I mean? That's my problem. No, not obviously no disrespect to Speedball Mike Bailey. They are not a bench warmer. But you know, if you know, you go to some of these shows, they only last about 3 minutes for some of these matches, and I'm expecting fucking like, you know, WrestleMania classics. Look at me being greedy, man. Huff me my fucking $50 ticket seats. Listen, we're gonna steamroll directly into MJF. Yeah, MJF. He does like a bit of a town hall where he taunts Hangman and Hangman fans, saying that he will never ever sniff the decadent gold that is the Triple B ever again. And you know, small allusions to Chris Jericho here and there. People assume Chris Jericho is gonna be back. Don't buy into that hype. What I will say for sure is that Kenny Omega coming down the fashion that he does, it definitely makes MJF look very alert. It definitely makes him look like he's taking this seriously. He doesn't crack any jokes, and you know, it's interesting, they probably won't do it because Tony Khan is Tony Khan, right? He just kind of gives these wrestlers as much free reign as necessary. They are supposed to be creating their own organic characters, but I don't want MJF to tear into Kenny, and that's only because Kenny is such a massive character, right? When you start to poke holes in Mystique, it's interesting. It's not so much to the extent of the CM Punk issue, and I guess we can kind of just go tit for tat since these are both title scenes, and since this is both and since these are both so close to the pay-per-views, right? With Dynasty only being about 4 weeks out, WrestleMania is only about 4.5, 5 weeks out. Kenny Omega, he very subtly puts over MJF, right, saying that, you know, he is somebody that he faced in the past, and he's found a way to he's somebody that he's faced in the past, and he found a way to overcome Kenny Omega, but Kenny Omega was only at 50-60%. Now, standing in front of him, as displayed by the match that he has with Andrade, as displayed by the 2 matches that he has with Swerve Strickland, Kenny is at 100%, right? Now, do I think that he will be beating MJF for the title? Come Destiny, probably not. MJF's probably gonna find some fucking underhanded way to cheat, and then maybe in their second or third go around, maybe then the title will change. But honestly, just like, it's a very simple story of MJF just being so like underhanded and conniving that he genuinely thinks that he can find a way to either out wrestle or outthink, like as he claims Kenny Omega to be the god of wrestling. And it's a very easy story to tell, which is why I think MJF and Kenny are doing such just a simple job at it. It's nothing too insane. But when you compare this to CM Punk and Roman, I have a really hard time believing Roman Reigns when he says that he wants this title, when he says that he hates CM Punk and all these other things, because it's funny, right? MJF isn't going out there and saying that he hates Kenny Omega, because, you know, I mean, he'd probably say like, oh, you're disgusting, you're rat, da da da. But, you know, we know that MJF is always working in character. And for Roman Reigns, I mean, it's unfortunate, but the company he works in, it killed kayfabe. It killed kayfabe. Like, Vince McMahon, knowing that this was going to be on the table, he would have never greenlit for them to go work as, you know, buddy cops as zebras. He would have never greenlit that. And if he would have, it would have been on the hush hush. None of you niggas talk about it. Because in 7 or 8 months' time, you two are going to be trying to tear each other's heads off on the biggest stage of them all. At the Night of the Immortals. You know what I mean? It's, I don't know. So I guess what I'm really trying to get to is the mystique of Roman and Punk is kind of gone, but I feel like just the bare bones story of athleticism and honestly redemption from Kenny Omega, I feel like that's just a very simple, very competent story, and us building towards that, again, it's fine. MJF had a really good sparring match with Nick Nemeth. Nick Nemeth said that MJF was just a third-rate Miz, and that, you know, he doesn't want to be forgotten, you know, in the list of greats who could have been and could have been. And MJF responded that Nick Nemeth was nothing more than a glorified mid-carder. Now, Nick Nemeth, about 3-4-time world champion, maybe 5-time world champion. You know, he's amazing when you look at his accolades in New Japan Pro Wrestling. So obviously these are just obviously these are just lighthearted jabs. I don't think that these are shoots at all. I mean, how could they be? They have a fucking match in a month. So that match also should be great. You know, we did see Maria Sade and Willow Nightingale lock up. So TNA and AEW, hey, we can get some amazing shit from that. We just got to get Leon Slater in here somewhere, man. Leon Slater and Kevin Knight. Leon Slater and Kevin Knight. I'm gonna hold out for that one because I think WWE will be too stupid to step on it. I'm gonna speak that into the universe. Leon Slater versus Kevin Knight is going to happen before 2025, before 2029. Before 2029, that match will happen. But yeah, again, it's fine. MJF, he has a really good way of just being an asshole. Like, he turns away the handshake at the end of this segment, right? And you know, after MJF hits his little catchphrase, Kenny hits his little catchphrase, and that is the end of this segment. Again, the only small question I just have is, you know, with there being an Andrade, with there being a Kenny Omega, with there being a Darby Allin, right? Eventually on the horizon, somewhere, somewhere, we are going to be getting Hangman back in this bitch, right? Like, where exactly is this title scene for real, right? A lot of people want to say that Bobby Lashley's been off TV for a while. When is he going to get that proper rub, that proper shine? There's a lot of questions a lot of people are asking, and honestly, I think that these are fair questions, right? Now, I will say that my criticism of Athena not being on this program, it has completely gone down, again, being with TNA and ROH kind of kind of airing around the same time, kind of counter programming each other just a little bit on the low. They're like fake counter programming each other right now. I'm not going to keep saying that all these segments should be Athena segments, but I don't know, man. Like, there are other women on this roster we could use, you know, and like, there isn't any Willow matches on here tonight. We only get one title match that we will be discussing very soon. But I would like to see more from this roster, right? Because, you know, again, nothing against, you know, the segment, but even the match that we have after, it's a bit of a rematch. And the idea that we get this again instead of a hypothetical Athena that, you know, obviously isn't happening for obvious reasons, but, you know, when you just put the places, when you put the pieces into place, right? When you put the pieces into their place, right, it just makes for a smoothly running machine, and that involves new fresh stars, right? And you know, we're going to be getting to this Death Riders and Top Flight match very soon, but I would like to see fresh faces on my screen, you know, and speak of the devil, you know, and they shall arrive. We'll be discussing Dante Martin, Scorpio Sky, and Zeta Steel in Top Flight versus the Death Riders versus Darnie Garcia, Jonathan Moxley, and Marina Shafir. Right now, discussing everything that involves this match, all right, would take you know, a lot of lore, you know, a lot of deep, intricate cuts. But let's just say, all right, that John Moxley for a while, all right, was supposed to be the veteran in the locker room, right? And now Danielson isn't on the comms for tonight to kind of flesh this story out, but for a very long time, John Moxley has been known as the needle mover, if you would, in this company, and somebody that he should be taking the young, and somebody who should be mentoring the younger generation, taking them under their wing, right? Now,
Dante Martin is easily one of the best up-and-coming wrestlers in that locker room, right? Whether that's because he wants to be, you know, in the mid-card, whether that's because that's what creative needs right now, he is, all right, you know, a vital part of this younger division, right? Dante Martin has locked up with almost every single OG you can imagine in that locker room, right? Very talented and honestly very inspirational. He's only about like 3 years off from me, so he's very, very sharp in that ring. Moxley, it's weird, right? Because you know, counting Zeta Steel, right? Mox is mentoring, for lack of a better word, with this match and just the experience that will come from this match and probably later conversations backstage. Dante Martin, Marina Shafir, Danny Garcia, and Zeta Steel. That's pretty fucking cool. When you just look at it on paper, it's good. You know, like there are obvious moments where you can see that Dante is learning moment by moment in that ring with the people that he's locking up with. I think Moxley is a perfect person to put in the ring with somebody like Dante. This was good match. Obviously a very quick match because come on, it's Top Flight. But you know, we get some intergender grapples I liked. You know, the heel side was the first to face the brunt of the intergender grabs. Marina Shafir caught a swift Pele kick. This nigga Mox tried to set up a doomsday on fucking Zeta Steel. This is a very fun match. I was initially very harsh on it. Because again, in my mind, like I feel like this could be anybody. This could be, this could be Max Caster. It could be anybody, right? And sometimes I do feel like I walk into these shows a little bitter. Like I do kind of have that WWE kind of like sludge kind of on my exoskeleton. But I'm not gonna lie, man. This was a good wrestling match. This is good. It was a fun match. It was a very fun match. And if I'm also going to take into accountability the promo after with Will Ospreay, right, setting up the Will and Pac match next week, and Mox and the Billy Goat and Mox at Dynasty. Listen, it's a lot to look forward to. It's a lot to look forward to with this simple story of, again, Will Ospreay just on a revenge tour, kind of parrying, Kenny's kind of redemption tour. So maybe they will meet at All In, but what I will say is that everything is definitely coming to a head nicely. Definitely everything is coming to a head very nicely. I also liked the backstage segment between Christian and Cage. Very funny. Christian is very entertaining. Edge, he cuts a pretty okay promo. It's probably not the best promo of the night just on paper, but I mean it's a fine promo. I think the one thing that Edge definitely brings is just that experience and that veteran edge. Again, that veteran edge, no pun intended, to all of his work, right? Whether that be in the ring or outside the ring. So, him being very upset with FTR for doing what they did to Beth Phoenix makes sense. Honestly, Beth Phoenix in this women's division for a cute little stint would be perfect, but that's just me wishful thinking, right? Let me fantasy booking again. FTR coming out and cutting their promo directly after Edge and Christian. Again, after the match that we just had with the Death Riders, I think that this was a good way to kind of bleed into the latter half of the night, being that it was definitely a lot slower, wasn't as high pace as the beginning. Even with the match that we get directly after these segments, right? In a Orange Cassidy and Roderick Strong versus the Dogs, this match is under 10 minutes, right? Which is why I feel the need to kind of critique these shows sometimes, because I feel like because I perceive them to not be reaching their full potential when it comes to that roster, when it comes to the playing time that could be allotted to these guys, right? Even with Orange Cassidy, how many times have I told you guys that we could just get a solo match? We could just get Orange Cassidy versus any one of the Dogs and I'd be fine with that. Like, imagine a good, competent, properly produced Gabe Kidd and Orange Cassidy match. Who would be opposed to that? Who would be opposed to that? Now, again, is that a bit of a rematch? Is this something that we are taking from a Marina Shafir, hypothetically a Chris Statlander, right? Women back there who aren't exactly getting a bunch of playtime like a Riho, right? I don't even know. She could be on the other side of the planet, but my point still stands that there are pieces in this locker room that aren't being used. So when I see a rematch like this, I am kind of wincing a little bit, kind of same reason I was a little adverse to really engage with that, Death Riders and Top Flight match. But I will say that the match, for what it was actually very fun. I think that the Dogs getting an over it's fine on paper. David Finlay Cassidy definitely needed this win. So did Clark Connors. It was very quick. But I mean, like in my personal opinion, Orange Cassidy is one of the biggest aspects of why AEW is still so, is so beloved nowadays, because you have frequent characters, you have frequent gimmicks, you have frequent Lord have mercy, you have frequent okay all right, you have frequent gimmicks, right? You have frequent characters, right? People that you can really latch onto and build a fan base with, right? Like Roosh, we're going to be talking about. It's probably later in the night. It's really not that hard to see the character connection with people like Roosh, right? Even with people like a Commander, right? These characters are just naturally over with the crowd, because when you keep them in the lineup and you kind of keep them in the mix, more or less, right? It makes it easier for us to like when you keep them in the mix, more or less, it keeps it easier for the crowd to build an identity, right? Now, it makes it easier for the crowd to come to a decision on whether they gravitate towards this person or not, right? And saying all this to say, right, I think Orange Cassidy definitely gets maybe a little bit too much playing time and not enough depth. And maybe I think that they're trying to kind of just spread out the ashes of this fire, because Orange Cassidy is very beloved. But when was his last world championship opportunity, right? Saying this to say this could be Willow Nightingale, though. It could be a plethora of people, and that's kind of where I land on this match specifically. Very fun match. It's good. All these matches are fine. They're good wrestling matches. You can get good wrestling at the bingo hall, right? But what do they lead into later? That's what I'm kind of curious on. But again, we have to remind ourselves that AEW is not a story company, and they've never, marketed themselves as such. So it's just that little caveat you kind of have to take all of these. Matches with. Last couple of matches that we are going to be discussing after two more promos. Lena Cross and Megan Bayne are backstage. Didn't like that. Hey, don't remind me that Willow Nightingale and Harley Cameron just got. Then you're gonna show me videos of it. Oh my God, does Tony Khan want me to fucking blow up? What the fuck is going on around here? This shit was crazy. And then a pretty fine promo from the one and the only Yes, from the one and the only, Will Ospreay. This is where he challenges Pac, and he says that Will Ospreay and says that Mox might not have a problem with him, but he's got a problem with Mox, bruv. And I think that Will Ospreay is probably going to take Pac's head off. But I'm not gonna lie, there's a good balance of talking and wrestling tonight. Stokely definitely stood out from promos. Stokely's always very entertaining, very funny. There was a small little thing between the matches where Roderick Strong, Orange Cassidy, and the FTR started to brawl a little bit, which I liked. I'll be honest, I liked it. And Stokely was like, "Get your bitch ass in the ring." He said that like 4 times. So there are really good talking pieces of this night that are very entertaining. But moving on, to this wrestling, to the next match on the card with Marina Shafir and with Mina Shirakawa and Thekla. With Mina Shirakawa versus Thekla for the World Women's Championship. I'll be honest, chat. I'll be honest. Thekla was moving like a woman possessed. She was moving very stiff. This is reminiscent of her, New Japan Pro Wrestling days. I know that's not the exact promotion she was in, but if you kind of just follow my train of thought here, she was great. She was so fucking good in this match. And I'll be honest. Hey, you guys are gonna call me a hater for this. Thekla was great. Thekla was awesome, right? Imagining that if you're going to have the end of this match be what it is, you wouldn't want to put this at the end of your show and leave the room deflated, right? But my only issue with that critique is that Darby Allin dies at the end of this show, right? A semi-spoiler alert. And it doesn't really, it's interesting, right? Because you would assume that you don't want to leave a good taste, you want to have everybody positive leaving the show, but you kind of off a face. So I mean, if Mina lost here, it wouldn't have been the worst, right? right? But now, and again, this is opposed from Mina winning, right? And Mina going on this, you know, scorched earth path, which would be very badass. But you know, Tony Khan and his women's creative, huh? Oh man. Okay, let's keep talking. I don't want to stick on this for too long. My headcanon is Mina won, and you know, she's just gonna have to relinquish the title, you know, because she has to tend to Toni Storm. So Thekla just has it, you know, kind of just, you know, kind of as like a gift, really. Like it's really Mina being graceful because she wants to care for Tony, right? But obviously in reality, Mina did not win. As unfortunate as this, because she's a great wrestler, such a great wrestler. You know, Thekla goes out there, she ends this with a curb stomp. That curb stomp, again, it looks smooth. It's getting very good, very good. If she can just deliver 2 of those in a row to her next opponent, like she did with Chris Outlander, we're going to be in great conversations with Thekla. Thekla even pulling that shit off in like one of her first title defenses, chef's kiss, making Chris look like a beast, making her as a champion look ruthless and fucking honestly as poised and as focused as she can be as a first-time champion. Man, that first title defense was very good. This was also a very good title defense, but I'm just kind of making up the ending because I don't like what the fuck Tony did. Not Toni Storm, Tony Khan. Oh, that's gonna get a little confusing, isn't it? Oh man, I'm gonna have to put pictures up. Okay, so after this match, the match that I believe should have been the main event, we steam right ahead into our actual main event, right? It is Roosh versus the Darby Allin. Now, the entire time I'm watching this match, right, on the back burner, I'm trying to figure out, is Darby actually going to pull off, all right, the ultimate Mick Foley, all right, and try to have this insane, otherworldly, like, underdog story with MJF, or hypothetically with Kenny Omega, and I don't know, because a lot of people were behind Hangman, a lot of people are behind Darby, but we obviously seen what happened, we obviously seen what happened with Hangman. So I really don't understand what the exact motive is with the Darby here. And you have Andrade, and then you have other pieces of the pie like Swerve, right? You have Hangman lurking in the background somewhere, and I don't know. We already touched on this briefly, but this match really just it really just is Darby Allin gonna be lined up across from our world champion, our men's world champion, in 2 months? I don't believe that. They haven't booked him to be in that spot, right? You know, for all we know, Darby Allin is going to be, you know, the deciding factor in the conglomeration's war against the dogs, right? Like, I feel like that's all we can really expect from these guys. And I mean, is that the worst thing in the world? It's not. But would I be honest in saying that I've expected a lot more from people like from people like Tony Khan, from Mind back there, you know, in that creative, whose entire purpose it is really it is to create something beyond like beyond belief. And with creating something beyond belief, you have to give some kind of effort, right, into the overall story. And I don't think that Darby Allin just kind of doing his own thing is exactly the it's weird. I don't exactly think that that's the formula people really want for Darby, you know, but who knows what people want for Darby? Maybe some people don't even want Darby on their screen, right? So I don't know. I'm saying all this to say that Darby's place in the world title scene, it is a little confusing. Roosh and Darby, though, they have a great match. Darby gets busted open pretty early throughout this match. You know, it is a reopening of his scar. It is a reopening of his injury that he got with Gabe Kidd, you know, a couple of moons ago, with Gabe Kidd, you know, really putting the smackdown on Darby, right? You know, this wound is massive, and the Band-Aid, right? It's kind of funny. The Band-Aid, it hangs off of Darby for like a portion of this match. It's quite literally like an actor, right? And then Roosh kind of plays to that. You know, he's very stiff. He's very aggressive. If you've watched one Roosh match, you watched all of them, right? And him kind of being the middle line, more or less, if you want to call it that, for luchadors, and you know, honestly, just this god tier ability and this god tier athleticism that we get from our luchadors in the mid card nowadays. That's fine. Like, if he is the litmus test for what a luchador is in AEW all of a sudden, that's fine by me, because Roosh is a great great wrestler. Darby looks like for a while that he's going to be, going down for the full 1, 2, 3, uno, dos, tres. But Darby Allin, no, he springs up. He finds a couple moments to get some offense off. He hits a coffin drop while, Roosh is kind of balancing on the top rope. That went semi well. I don't know if they're trying to bill like Darby Allin is kind of like Jeff Hardy kind of guy. I'm not sure, like Mick Foley. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what the whole thing is with Darby Allin. But he takes a lot of damage tonight. He always takes a lot of damage. I have said that watching that white boy get thrown around is actually very entertaining. It is. I don't know what you guys want me to tell you about it. And I'm not gonna lie, the blade job from earlier in the week, it helped this match a lot, because I'll be honest, shouldn't have been in the main event, tell you that much. Darby eventually he goes over with I believe a roll-up. Actually, Darby Allin gets away from this match scot-free, no coffin drip needed. All right, also no tap out. All right, also no tap out. He attempted a scorpion lock, like just a normal, like a scorpion lock, just like a sharpshooter. Didn't go anywhere. But again, Roosh offers really hard-hitting offense for this entire match. Is very good to watch. And then Mark Davis comes out and he kills Darby Allin in front of Andrade, who's very upset with Don Callis working with MJF. We learn through the screeching voice of Tony Schiavone, the GOAT, that this was apparently because MJF paid for this to happen, and it resulted in an absolute beatdown of Darby Allin. Now, I'm saying all this to say I don't know if Kenny's gonna win. I have no idea if Kenny's gonna win. I don't know if in the near future we are ever going to see anybody actually dethrone MJF. I don't know. MJF has so much momentum behind him right now. He's so sharp on that mic. He's such a pillar of AEW. Like what Tony has crafted with specifically MJF, but even with talents like Ospreay, how we flourished out, the identity of Mox, right? You have Kenny, you have Swerve. Like there are just certain pieces to the show that feel like they've been here forever. And that's exactly what you want from a wrestling promotion, that has technically been around for a good sneeze, all right? We are reaching the end of a decade, all right? No later than about 2031, right? So when this place hits 10 years in the game, right? Eventually we're just gonna have to start calling it what it is, all right? This is the number 2 wrestling industry, maybe of all time. And who knows? Maybe it is what it is. Obviously, we're not going to count New Japan Pro Wrestling, who came before WWE. But I mean, that's just semantics right there. That was everything. All right, that your boy officially had for March 25th, 2026. Dynamite, all right? All right? As I always say, there's a lot of other things going up, all right? So, hope all of you stay safe, stay tuned, stay beautiful, all right? Peace.